papal nuncio's returned from Rome, Your Majesty, with greetings from His Holiness.
This afternoon, Taffa. I'll receive him this afternoon.
How are you this morning, Francis?
Well, as usual, my dear, bothered by everything. My Prime Minister keeps me at it. Oh, don't worry, Taffa. I rely on your judgments.
Franz.
What is this, Izzy?
Rudolph is dead.
What?
Our son is dead.
Dead? He can't be dead. Well, this is one of your silly tricks, isn't it, Sissy?
Say it, Hoyos.
Your All Highest and Most Supreme Majesty, I have to report to you, in all grief, that His Royal Highness Prince Rudolph has departed this life.
Is the cause of death known, Your Majesty?
Poison. Count Hoyos, when the Emperor can bear it, tell him all you know.
Your Majesty.
Taffa, we shall need your assistance.
My deepest condolences, Your Majesty.
We must act quickly, Taffa.
Agreed, with all respect to your Imperial House.
The time for tears can come later. There are 2 bodies at Meyerling.
2?
They are there together, Taffa. Like lovers.
Your Majesty.
She poisoned my son and then killed herself.
Who?
Mary Vetsera.
Ah.
You knew of them.
It is my vocation to protect the royal house.
Heart failure. My son died of heart failure. That is what we will tell our people.
How wise you are, Your Majesty.
The Baroness Vetsera is still here, Your Majesty.
Has she been told?
Not yet, Your Majesty.
Fetch Hoyos.
Your Majesty.
And bring me a looking glass, Fräulein. You must receive her dry-eyed. If we show any emotion, they exploit it. They take advantage.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Count Hoyos, you will say nothing until you are asked to speak.
Your Majesty.
Your Supreme Majesty, the Baroness Helena Vetsera.
Your Majesty.
We hear you have been seeking audience with us for the past 2 days. We crave your indulgence, but affairs of state have given us no time.
Your Divine Majesty, far be it from me to lay burdens upon you, but my importunities are only occasioned by the tender concern of a mother's heart.
Why are you here?
My daughter, Mary, a sweet child of only 17 years.
What of her?
She's disappeared. For the past 2 nights she has not slept in her bed. Put yourself in my place, Your Majesty. Think of the purity of a 17-year-old girl born into the nobility.
But why come to us?
Your Majesty, I believe that she is admiring with your son.
Well?
Well, they are lovers, Your Majesty.
And you wish me to end their affair?
Oh, well, no, not in the least. It's just
Just what?
Well, think of her reputation, Your Majesty, her prospects.
So, now we come to it. Your concern is not for your daughter's purity, but for her prospects. You are afraid she has been compromised and will never worm her way into the highest reaches of our court.
Your Majesty!
We remember you, Baroness. 10 years ago, you seduced our son. You think us unaware, but our Prime Minister is well informed of your scandalous activities. You seduced my Rudolph. And then when you found he was sickening of your entertainments, you were suddenly afraid for your position in society. And so you coached your own child for his bed.
Your Majesty!
Rudolph wrote to His Holiness the Pope a fortnight ago, asking permission to divorce Stephanie, his wife, so as to marry your little trained harlot.
I beg you!
Tell her what has happened, Hoyos. Tell her.
Your Majesty.
Tell her we command it.
Count Hoyos, what is it?
At 8 o'clock this morning, at Myling, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and your daughter
Tell her.
were found dead.
Dead?
Poisoned.
My child! My lovely child, what has she done?
She poisoned my son and then killed herself.
What?
And we know why. His Holiness wrote at once to my husband. The Emperor forbade the divorce. Even though the Princess Stephanie can have no more children, even though she cannot produce for us a male heir, the Emperor would not have her put aside.
I beg you.
So Rudolph took your daughter to Myling to break the terrible news that she would not reign as Empress after all. But you had filled her up with such dreams of glory. She could not bear the disappointment, and in a fit of pique, she poisoned my son. And then there was nothing left for her to do but kill herself.
Oh, Your
However,
Majesty!
it is our wish that you and your daughter be wiped from our memory. My son died of heart failure.
Your Majesty!
One does not leave Majesty with one's back turned. Oh. It is the command of the All-Highest that you speak of this to no one.
I prostrate myself at your feet, Your Divine Majesty. I prostrate myself. I prostrate myself.